What if understanding your mind could change your life in ways you never expected? Psychology isn't just something to study, it's something to live. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you act, it all begins in the brain. And once you learn how it works, you can begin to shape your future. In this video, you'll hear 10 simple psychology lessons that can help you grow. These ideas are clear, powerful, and easy to use in daily life. You'll also improve your English naturally as you listen and reflect. Let's begin this journey of learning, both in language and in life. Your brain is always working, even when you're not thinking about it. It's like a machine that keeps running in the background. Every second it makes choices, judges situations, and fills in gaps. But it doesn't always do this perfectly. One of the first things psychology teaches us is this: your brain takes shortcuts. It does this to save time and energy. Imagine walking through a forest and suddenly seeing a long, curved shape in the grass. Your brain quickly thinks, snake, even if it might be a stick. That's a shortcut. It's fast and sometimes useful, but not always correct. These shortcuts are called cognitive biases. They help you decide quickly, but they can also lead you to wrong conclusions. For example, if you fail one test, your brain might say, I'm just not smart. But that's not the truth, that's a shortcut. The real truth might be, I didn't sleep well, or I didn't study enough. But those thoughts take more effort. So the brain chooses the fast explanation. And over time, those quick explanations become your beliefs. This brings us to the second lesson. You believe what you repeat. If you hear something again and again, your brain starts to accept it as truth. It doesn't even check if it's right. A child who hears, "You're lazy," over and over will begin to believe it. Even if it isn't true, repetition gives it power. That same child, if they heard, "You work hard," would believe something completely different. Not because the facts changed, but because the message did. Your brain is shaped by what it hears and what it says, especially when you say things to yourself. If you tell yourself, I can't do this, your brain believes it. If you say, I'm learning how to do this, your brain believes that too. That's how powerful repetition is. It becomes the voice in your head, and the voice in your head becomes the story of your life. This is why psychologists say self-talk matters. You are not just thinking, you are teaching your brain how to think. You're training it with every word, and like any habit, it can be changed. Let's imagine a man named Tom. He started a new job and felt nervous. He thought, I'm not good enough for this. Everyone here is smarter than me. He said it once, then again, and again. Soon he stopped trying to speak up in meetings. He didn't ask questions. His fear grew, and so did his silence. But one day he caught the thought. He paused and said, maybe I can learn, maybe I don't need to be perfect, just improving. He started repeating that instead. Slowly, his confidence returned. He changed nothing on the outside, but everything on the inside. That's the power of understanding how your mind works. Your thoughts are not always facts. They are habits. Your brain will take the easy road unless you guide it. But now you know better. You can pause before you believe the first thought. You can ask, is this true or is it just automatic? You can speak to yourself with more patience and more honesty. And you can create better mental habits, one thought at a time. Have you ever tried to change something in your life, but found yourself doing the same old thing again? That's not because you're weak. It's because your brain loves habits. Your brain is designed to save energy, and habits help it do that. The more often you do something, the easier it becomes. It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. This is the third psychology lesson. Your brain loves routine, even if the routine isn't helpful. Let's say you always check your phone the moment you wake up. At first, it was a choice, but now it's a habit. You don't even think about it. Your brain just follows the path it already knows. The good news is this: habits can be changed, but not all at once and not by force. This brings us to the fourth lesson. Small actions change your identity. The things you do every day shape how you see yourself. They become part of who you are. If you read one page of a book every day, you become someone who reads. If you go for a 5-minute walk each morning, you become someone who moves. It doesn't matter how small the action is. What matters is that you do it again and again. There's a story of a man named Elias. He wanted to be healthier, but every time he tried a big change, he failed. So he started small. He walked for 5 minutes each day after lunch. After a week, he added another 5 minutes. Then he began drinking more water. then cooking at home twice a week. 6 months later, he felt like a completely different person, but it all started with one small walk. He didn't wait for motivation, he built it through action. This is a powerful truth from psychology. You don't wait until you feel ready, you become ready by doing. Your brain begins to believe, this is who I am now. That belief makes the next step easier. Think of any habit you want to build: writing, exercising, learning English. Don't start with a big goal, start with a small, repeatable action. 1 minute, one sentence, one task, do it again the next day, and the next. Soon it won't feel like effort, it will feel like you. This is why habits matter. They don't just change what you do. They change who you believe you are. You're not trying to become someone else. You're becoming more of the person you already want to be, and it starts with small choices. Every day, your brain is watching. It learns by repetition, and over time, it rewrites your identity. So be patient, be kind to yourself. Don't focus on perfection, focus on direction. And remember, small steps taken daily create the biggest change. Emotions are part of being human, but that doesn't mean they always tell the truth. This brings us to the fifth lesson. Your emotions are data, not commands. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to act on it. Emotions give you information, but they don't always give you direction. Think of emotions like weather. If it starts to rain, you don't panic, you just bring an umbrella. In the same way, if you feel sad or angry, you don't have to obey those feelings. You can notice them, understand them, and still choose what to do next. This is emotional awareness, and it's one of the most powerful skills you can learn. Let's say you're having a hard day. A friend says something small that upsets you. You feel hurt. You feel like snapping back. But then you pause. You realize you're not just upset with them, you're tired, stressed, and maybe a little insecure. That small pause gives you space, and in that space you find control. This is where the sixth lesson comes in. Naming your feelings gives you power. When you put a word to an emotion, something amazing happens. The part of your brain that feels stress calms down. It's like shining a light in a dark room. You don't have to be afraid of what you can see. Psychologists call this affect labeling. It means simply saying, I feel anxious or I feel frustrated. Not hiding it, not denying it, just naming it. Even better, you can go deeper. Instead of saying, I'm angry, try saying, I feel ignored or I feel disappointed. The more specific your words, the more calm you feel. Because your brain loves clarity. There's a story about a woman named Elena. She often argued with her partner over small things. Every time they disagreed, she felt a wave of frustration. But instead of yelling, she began to pause and label her feelings. I feel unheard. I feel scared of being wrong. I feel like I'm not enough. By naming her emotions, she understood them. And by understanding them, she could speak more kindly, more clearly. The arguments didn't stop completely, but they changed, because she wasn't reacting blindly anymore. She was responding with awareness. That's the gift of self-awareness. It doesn't erase your emotions, it teaches you to work with them. You are not weak for feeling things, but you are strong when you take time to understand what you feel. You become less reactive and more reflective. You make fewer decisions you regret, and you build relationships that are deeper, calmer, and more honest. Your emotions are not your enemy. They're your inner signals, but they are not your boss. You get to decide what happens next. So the next time you feel something strong, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? Then give it a name. That name is the beginning of understanding, and understanding is the beginning of peace. Most people think motivation is something you wait for. They say, I'll start when I feel ready. But that's not how growth works. Motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after. This leads us to the seventh lesson. Progress feels better than perfection. We all want to be perfect. We want to get things right the first time. But your brain doesn't respond well to pressure, it responds to momentum. Every time you make a little progress, your brain feels rewarded. That small feeling of success makes you want to keep going. Think of someone who wants to learn a new language. If they wait for the perfect time, the perfect method, or the perfect mood, they may never start. But if they study for 5 minutes today, they feel a small win. And that small win leads to another one tomorrow. That's how progress beats perfection. Progress builds motivation, perfection blocks it. There's a story of a boy named Raymai. He wanted to learn how to play the piano. At first, he told himself, I'll practice for an hour every day. But after 2 days, he gave up. Then he changed his plan. He decided to play just 5 minutes a day, no pressure, no perfection. After a week, he wanted to play longer. After a month, it became a habit. Now he enjoys it. And it all started with one small moment of progress. This brings us to the 8th lesson. Your goals must feel personal. If you're doing something only because others expect it, it won't last. The brain resists goals that feel like pressure. But when a goal connects to your values, to who you want to be, it becomes stronger. It becomes part of you. Let's say your teacher tells you to read more. You might try, but you won't love it. But if you tell yourself, I want to read because I enjoy learning, now it feels like your choice. And the brain loves choices. Internal motivation comes from meaning. It comes from personal reasons, not outside rewards. You're not just doing something because you have to. You're doing it because it fits your story. This is why some people stick with hard goals. They feel emotionally connected. The goal feels like them. And when that happens, your effort becomes more natural. You don't need to force yourself every day. You want to show up, so don't wait to feel motivated, and don't chase perfection. Start small. Focus on progress. Choose goals that feel like you. Let your growth be slow but steady. Let it come from inside, not outside. Because in the end, it's not about how fast you move, it's about how deeply you care. You are not just thinking your own thoughts. You are also feeling the emotions of others. This is because of something called emotional contagion. It means we catch feelings from people around us. This is our 9th psychology lesson. We mirror the emotions of others, often without even knowing. If someone near you is laughing, you feel lighter. If someone is angry or nervous, your body starts to react too. That's how powerful emotions are. They spread like sound in a room, even when no one says anything. You walk into a space where people are tense and your body tightens. You walk into a room where people are calm and you feel safe. This happens because of mirror neurons in the brain. These neurons copy what others feel. It's a beautiful part of being human. It helps us connect. But it also means we need to be careful who we spend time with. If you're always around people who complain, you might feel more negative. If you're around people who encourage and listen, you'll likely feel more hopeful. You don't have to cut people out of your life, but you should be aware of how they affect you. Energy moves both ways. You can lift others up or they can bring you down. This is also why kindness is powerful. A kind word or gentle voice can shift the mood of a whole group. You don't have to do anything big. Just your calm presence can change how someone feels. There's a story about a girl named Hannah. She was quiet, but people loved being around her. When asked why, her friend said, "She doesn't say much, but when I'm with her, I feel peaceful." Hannah didn't try to fix everyone. She just listened, smiled, and stayed calm. That's the psychology of empathy. It's the ability to feel with others, not just for them. When someone is sad, you don't need to solve their problems. Sometimes you just sit with them in the silence. You mirror their feeling with respect, and that makes them feel less alone. Real connection isn't about talking the most. It's about being present the most. When you practice empathy, you become more trusted. People feel safe with you. They don't feel judged. They feel seen. And that's what everyone wants, to be seen and accepted. So choose your circle with care. Notice how you feel after being with someone, and notice how others feel after being with you. Because emotions don't stay inside one person. They move. They spread, and with empathy, you can help them move in a better direction. The final lesson may be the most powerful of all. It's about the story you tell yourself. This is your inner voice, the one that explains who you are and what your life means. We all have this voice, and it tells a story every day. Sometimes it says, "I'm not good enough." Sometimes it says, "I always fail." Other times it says, "I'm learning," or "I'm trying and that's enough." This voice is not your past. It's not your truth. It's your story, and stories can change. This is the 10th lesson. The stories you tell shape your future. Imagine two people who both lose their job. One says, "I'm worthless, I'll never succeed." The other says, "This is hard, but maybe it's a chance to grow." Same situation, different story. And that story creates two different futures. One gives up and stops trying. The other keeps going and finds something new. That's the power of narrative psychology. It means the way you explain your life changes how you live it. You can tell yourself that your failures define you. Or you can say, "That was a lesson, now I know more." You can say, "I always mess things up." Or you can say, "I'm still learning how to handle this." Your brain listens to that story. It believes what you repeat. That belief becomes your actions, and your actions become your life. There's a woman named Miriam who used to call herself shy and weak. She told herself that story so many times that she avoided people. She missed chances to speak up. Then one day she decided to change the story. She said, "I'm quiet, but I care deeply. I notice things others miss." She started telling herself, "I have a calm voice and it matters." Slowly, that new story changed her confidence. Now she gives talks at her school. Not because she became someone else, but because she believed something better. Your story is not fixed. You can choose it, shape it, rewrite it. That doesn't mean you lie to yourself. It means you tell the truth with kindness. You remember your strength. You give yourself credit for the effort you make. You are not the worst thing that happened to you. You are the one who kept going. So ask yourself, what story am I telling? Is it helping me or holding me back? And if it's holding you back, maybe it's time to tell a better one. Because when you change the story, you change the ending. And the best stories are the ones we write with hope, honesty, and heart. You've just heard 10 simple lessons that can help you live and think more clearly. Even one of these ideas can make a big difference in your life. You don't need to be perfect, just aware. Growth begins when you notice and try something new. Use what spoke to you. Let it guide your next small step. Thank you for listening and learning. And remember, you are always one new thought away from change.